number 4 of 6 in our series. And just to give you a brief recap, we've gone through 3 workshops already. Building savings and wealth, where we spoke about identifying your goals, having a financial foundation mindset. We reviewed the wealth formula, which of course is money and time, subtracting rate of return, minusing inflation, and tax, which will then result in your wealth. We understand also the effects of time and inflation on our assets. Workshop 2, increasing cash flow and debt management, where we're finding that we can actually locate $100 or more that you didn't know you had just by changing the way we spend and the way the way we spend our money, rather. So that way we find out where our money is going. Building a plan to be debt-free faster and learning how to increase our cash flow. Workshop 3, preparing with proper protection, where we spoke of the responsibility or the X-curve concept, which means that typically you're less secure when you're younger because you have more debt, buying a house, a car, looking after your children. But if you put plans in place to grow your wealth, you typically will find that your wealth will grow and your responsibilities decrease over time, which is where we're trying to get. In that, we spoke of the value of properly protecting your assets and liabilities with investments and insurance and the difference between term and permanent, and for you to have an idea of what works best for you. We saw how this benefits your overall financial strategy and went through some commonly asked questions, so you will have the power to make informed choices and decisions that best suit you and your loved ones. We implore you to take note of this information. Reach out to your financial advisor, your banker, your agent. If you don't have one, ask around. There are people who are qualified to guide you. And we're giving you this information to make you a more informed consumer so that you can put these plans in place, reaffirm that you're already on the right track, or rediscover areas of opportunities that you can work on in order to get where you need to be. Okay, and with that, we will start on workshop number 4, which is your health and wealth, and our facilitator, Man Lee, will take over.
Great, thank you, Nari. Praise the Lord. First of all, I just like what I share with Pastor Glenn, it's a blessing for me, a blessing that I be able to control. I would consider that. I'm in a position to have a very blessed life. Many times I share you the concept that we need to be strong I consider, all area of life for us to have a meaningful life. Spiritually, we have to be strong. And that Pastor Glenn's always there to give us the spiritual guidance. But I believe that we also need to make sure that we, acquire the mental capacity, right? So that we can be able to have the knowledge, so that we can be able to also direct our life, the right direction. But in addition to that, right, we need to make sure that we keep ourselves healthy, right? And of course, the last pillar that we also need is to make sure that we are financially strong. And it's really my blessings and privilege is also to share with you this concept. And I, just like what Nireen just gave you a recap of what we did for the past few workshops. One thing, be aware, knowledge is great, but knowledge without, implementation doesn't really have a lot of value. So make sure that not only acquire the knowledge, but also make sure that also know how to implement that so that we can be able to put it to work for us, right? And for that, today's workshop, we will focus more on your health and wealth. Health and wealth pretty much is go hand in hand, right? And of course, the other workshop that continue on with workshop number 5 and number 6, we will talk more on some of the strategy, right, to help us to be able to accumulate wealth, right? And of course, the last one, workshop 6, is we will talk about how, that we can be able to fulfill, our long-term goals. Because I believe that in order for us, right, to be able to achieve something, we have to have very clear goals, and we need to make sure that we have proper planning so that we can achieve that. So today's workshop, let me go ahead and start sharing the screen with you. All right, so let me do that. And you can see that health and wealth, right? And of course, before we start, there's a brief disclaimer, right? The information in this presentation should not be interpreted as accounting, investment, legal, or tax advice, and it is not an offer to sell or solicitate to buy any security, insurance, or any financial product. Yeah, we are a financial professional, Nari and me. You need help, we are more than happy, but we're not here to solicitate. We just want to make sure that our purpose is for education only. Right? In conjunction with our national campaign for financial literacy, is to bring financial awareness and education to all. Right? And our mission is very clear. Right? Our mission is to make sure that financial education for all. We believe that we all deserve, right, to have the knowledge so that we can put ourselves, right, on the right direction and become financially secure. Right? And don't expect to learn everything during the course of this workshop. We look at for about 1 hour time frame. However, we hope that you learn and gain more confidence and take action toward reaching your goals. And that's the key, right? Reaching your goal. And being part of our campaign, we encourage you, right, also to help empower others to do the same. If we're blessed, we need to reach out and bless others, right? And to help us preserve the integrity and context of the information, right? Please do not take any photos, videos, or record this workshop. We appreciate that. All right. So let's look at, you look at that, we always mention that financial education is not an option. It is a necessity. So our commitment is to educate and empower 30 million families by 2030. And we want you to become part of that, right? And be part of a campaign that revolutionizes the financial industry, building a system that bridges financial education and financial independence, right? And you can see that, every day we are flooded with all kind of information, right? YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all kind of media. And you can see that many offer financial advice, but they are not really well, versed in what they do. They do unlicensed, or they don't have any industry experience, right? And sometimes even the people in the old industry, like maybe a financial advisor, they only focus on investment, but they do not really, focus more on the protection. And the insurance agent only focus more on the insurance, right? But they don't focus on the investment. Right, so they only focus 1 or 2 aspects of your financial, right? What we would like to do is to help you to look at the total picture, right? A holistic approach, right? And of course, all the workshop that we have to educate and empower you, right, to become your own money manager. Because at the end of the day, only you is the one that responsible for your financial well-being. Because once you control your finance, right, you will control your future. So today's workshop, right, it's a health and wealth. What we covered today is the financial importance and the impact of your health. Wealth and health come hand in hand. Right, the strategy to transfer and to preserve your wealth. In addition to that, make sure that you are ensure that your last wishes are prepared and carried out. Of course, understand the inevitability and impact of medical expenses. And you can see that, right now in our country, right, most bankruptcies that relate to what? Right, relate to most of the time healthcare costs, right? So how we'll be able to prepare so that it will not put us in that position is very important. So you can see that everyone has a story, right? It seems that when it comes to, especially when people get old, or we also have some elder or our loved one to get old, right? You can see that the lot of challenge, right? When it comes to care in a nursing home or facility, right? Or sometimes, right, the parents or grandparents move in, right, because it's at a certain stage they can no longer take care of themselves, so they need to someone, right? And if they cannot afford to hire someone, they have to come back with the children, right? Or I see a lot people because their love of their parent. They had to put their career on hold to take care, their parents or even grandparents. And of course, you can see that there's constant medical cost, right, or care. Would you agree? So you probably have your own experience, right, by within your family or with our loved one, right? The key thing here is, we have to understand what we call the relationship become between health and wealth. Let me ask you this question. Do you know who's the oldest living person in the world right now? Well, it's Ken Tanaka. Okay, she's a 118 years old woman from Japan. Oh my goodness, I'm not sure if the law allow me to live that long. But you look at that. Without health, what good is it? Our fortune there to enjoy it. You agree? So, but likewise, right? Our wealth can greatly affect our well-being. If we have wealth, we can have more options. We can have more, good treatment, good, in terms of medical treatment, right? We can prolong our life, right? You agree? But at the same time, what I look at right now is the cost of some of the health food, like organic food, is almost twice is a regular one. So hey, if you have wealth, you can eat wealth. You can eat health, right? Healthy food, right? So and of course, you look at most of the time, fast food is cheap, but it's also very, very challenging thing when it comes to, is that really, good, right? And of course, the option of doctor care, medical expenses, right? And providers. And the research is linked faster, right? Physical and mental aging with people who have lower wealth. Yeah. Because if we are not financially burdened or not capable, most of the time, our health also, not only our health, our mental also will also, kind of like decline, right? So for that, I hope that, right, that we need to see that clearly and make your decision now. Because if we hope to live a long life, but the truth is that we can pass that at any time. If the law calls us, of course, not much we can do. But we have to develop a strategy, right? Now, why we are still healthy before too late, right? And then you can see, and here today, right? Let's look at that in terms of what do we need to do in order for us to prepare, right? Of course, why we are building wealth, right? Here's a question we'd like to ask you. Who will I leave my legacy to? Right? How can I protect all of our hard work? Yeah, we may labor through our life, build up an assets, but the question is, are we be able to transfer to the right person, right? Or the one that you really wanted? How will I remember when we went away, right? What impact will I have on this world? Right? These are questions that sometimes I believe that we need to ponder, right? So that we can be able to find a good answer for that. And today, I just want to kind of like go back and go over with you, right? Of all the thing that we mentioned for the past 3 workshops is to have a strong foundation financially. And you know what? Proper protection is, again, the foundation to build a strong financial house, a financial future. And the protection is also protect our health, protect our wealth, right? Because protect your legacy and the longevity of your wealth is very important, right? And for that, let's take a look at, through our life, right? You can see that there's 3 phases when we look at that, how we create wealth. Of course, when we are young, right, you can see that we put in our effort, working hard. So during this time is what we call the accumulation phase, right? So we build our wealth. Hopefully that we develop what we call the proper habit and the proper knowledge, right? And of course, many times we share with you, just like Maryse mentioned early on, right? We need to understand about the wealth formula. We need to learn how to discipline, right? Our habit is very important. That's why the saving habit to start with us, with the discipline. Then now, if we put that to work, we can accumulate wealth, right? So, but at the same time, right, at a certain stage, then of course, we retire, then we need to take the money out so that we can spend it, just like anything else, right? You can see that, all right, we can work for maybe 30, 40 years. When we get to the age of 60, right, 70, we retire. And now we can, if we have enough money at that time, right, we can use that as a distribution, right? And workshop number 5, next week, we'll talk a little bit more some of the strategy so that we can build our wealth, to accumulate our wealth. Right? Very important that we need to understand that. But today, I want to go more on the phase that we call transferring, right? Transferring our wealth, the estate transfer, which is how we be able to, transfer that legacy, right, to the next generation. So here, for some fun, right? For those who are here, if you like to, right, you can participate with us and say, hey, maybe I can get out of this, stop sharing and ask you a few questions, right? How many have someone know where of those documents that you have, let's say the will or the trust? Now, if you're not familiar with that, those are the legal, documentation that help you to be able to transfer your debt, your assets, right, to the next generation, or to bypass the probate so that you don't have to deal with a lot of costs when it comes to wealth transfer. And of course, the question is, do you have one? Or how many that have it, but how many people know where you keep those documentation, right? Who would know what need to be done if either yourself or a loved one pass away? Right? And a lot of time, I think in your life, we are full of things we need to do. We are very busy. But you know what? These are some of very important things that sometimes we have to prepare. Would you agree with me? Right? And as you can see that, right, no matter the size of your estate, is transfer, right, is the paramount important. Because why? That's how you be able to leave your legacy, right, to the next generation. So you can look at that. Well, let's take a look at what is the assets, what is the legacy, what do we have? Well, our assets are a lot. Look at that, the house, right? The saving that you have, right? You look at that, the car, the investments, right? And a lot of things that we have. So building a legacy has 3 simple points. Number 1, protect yourself and protect your assets while you're still alive, right? While living, right? And the other one is how you are clearly organization and communication. Because I see a lot of people, sometimes they put things in to be safe, they put in a safe deposit box, but nobody knows what's in it, and nobody even know how to access to that. So when she passed away, the family don't even know that he have a safe deposit box. Right, and also, right, another point that we have to look at, how do we pass it on, right, to our next generation so that they can receive the entire value, right? And you can see that it's very important that you need to learn how to preserve our estate. So today, I just want to go over with you a little bit on the estate planning side, right? It's a process of determining the distribution of your assets upon your debt. And of course, we don't want to talk about that, but of course, we all will one day. The law will cover us, right? So, but estate planning also, here's the key. It's not when you're dead, it's also cover the management of your personal affair in the event of incapacity. That means that you maybe, lost your mind. Maybe when we get Alzheimer, we get dementia, or maybe we have an accident, we're in coma. That's when we are incapacitated. The question is this: who will be there that you can trust will take care of you, right? And here's one thing that we need to understand: estate planning are not just for the wealthy. but for the smart people. I hope that we see that clearly. It's not for the wealthy, it's for smart people. Even wealthy people don't know how to prepare, how to plan for that. They still have a lot of trouble, right? So for that, what do we need to do? I think we had to be the one who make the call. Because why? Only you can control whatever will happen in the future. Will you agree? Wouldn't you like to call the shot? Make the decision and direct your own course of action rather than someone else. Because here's the point. If we don't do that, someone else will do that. And I don't think that you're happy with that. And a lot of time, maybe it's not even our family. Without proper estate planning, it's the probate court that will come in and take control of our assets. Unless we know how to be able to protect ourselves from that. And a lot of time we do not have that understanding. We don't understand about the law. We don't understand about, all of this process, right? Because if you don't have a plan, the government has one for you and you may not like it. And I'm not sure that you will like it. I don't like it, right? If it's all my assets, I work hard all of my life. I need to be the one who directed it. I don't want the government coming in. And when they come in, not necessarily they will follow my order, my wish. And also it's very costly too, right? And for that, right, here's the key. Here's a worksheet that we need to look at that, right? To ensure that my property will go to whom I choose when I die, I can make a simple will. Right. Well, there is a few things that we have to look at that, of course. Right. At least someone that you think it deserves to have that. But that will not prevent a lot of conflict because with the will, it had to go to the probate. And someone can also appeal with the judge. So now you look at all lawyer talk. How many times that you see that when a person passes away, even with the will, guess what? Right, there's a lot of infighting, or sometimes expose ourselves, right, to lawsuit from outside, right? So most of the time, if we understand that and we want to avoid that, right, we should avoid what we call the probate process. You can consider a trust, right, and most of the proper trust is a revocable living trust. Today I'm not going to go in detail, right? I do have a workshop that talk about estate planning every Thursday night if you'd like to, right? And we are welcome to listen to, right? But again, right, not only a will, a trust, we also need to make sure that we have a personal directive. If you do not want your family to have to make a decision for you at the end of life when we kind of have no more hope to recover, right? Don't let the family be the one who have a guilt, because whatever decision they make, either pull the plug or let us stay in the machine, it will create a lot of hardship or guilt to the family. Make the decision yourself ahead of time, right? That would be, for me, right, something that we don't have to put our family, our loved one in the position that uneasy for them and put a guilt on them, right? And of course, I can give authority to a trusted person to manage my account and my financial if I am unable, right? That's mean when you become incapacitated, by assign someone that that you can trust to have that power. They call a financial power attorney, right? Now, of course, don't forget the other documents, right? HIPAA, guardianship special if you have young children, right? Minor children, right? Kid travel consent, update the beneficiary. A lot of time people have a life insurance and they put the wrong beneficiary on that, right? And of course, right, that we also have a provision of digital assets. Right now, we can store, things. That's a lot of trusted side that we can keep it, right? So that way we can be able to have it accessible, right? But at the same time, right, when something happens, someone also be able to get access to, right? So here's the key: list of important documents and where to access them, right? And of course, online can help make things secure, right? Ready, available, and easy to update. We are now living in the 21st century, right? So we can use that the technology also to help us to secure and to help us to make things at ease and accessible, right? So today, right, consider this scenario, right? Without proper documents in place, if you have children and remarry, do you know that the assets will go to your current spouse? And the current spouse, which is a step parent, have no obligation at all to support your biological children, right? So we need to learn how to prepare that, because if something happened to us, of course we don't want our children to suffer. Would you agree with me, right? Or let's say that if you leave an assets to a child and they were minor, guess what? If you don't have a guardian so to designate it, the court, the probate court will appoint a guardian that will take care of them and the assets. Wow. You see that? So in you can see that, who will that be? You don't know. And what will the child inherit when they reach legal age? Because you know what? Some of those assets that you have, the guardian that appointed by the court are not work for free, and they can also take advantage of that. Will you agree? So again, right? One more thing that a lot of people don't have. Let's say when you travel, right? What document that you have in place if you and your family need a medical attention? Right? Do you have a power of attorney, medical power of attorney, so that someone can be able to act on your behalf, right? Or sometimes, right, if you have your child travel with someone that are not, the legal guardian, have you, make sure that you have like a child, travel consent, right? So a lot of these legal paper that we need to make sure that we prepare, right? And one more thing, right? When it comes to final, when we pass away, right? You know what? Planning someone else's funeral service is probably the last on most people's list. You agree? But do you know how much is, the emotional and also the financial, burden, right? If we are not prepare ourselves properly. Now these days, every time I see someone pass away, we have like the GoFundMe things. I'm not sure that is the right thing to do, right? But at the same time, right, we have also we call funeral concierge. It's a service to help the client and their family during the planning and preparation stage, right? During one of the toughest part of life. Who's in the mind, mind to negotiate, things with the funeral home. And you know what? And sometimes the funeral home also take advantage of that. But if we have some service that represent us on our behalf, I think it would be much more, easy for us, especially during this difficult time. Would you agree? Right? In addition to that, right? The funeral concierge service, they can plan on the funeral planning for us, implement a negotiation. They provide a 24/7 assistance, right? And all the beneficial tool may accompany to service and help at the process. So who will be there to help you and your loved one? All right. And of course, one of the things that I believe that we need is to make sure that we have a peace of mind, right? What is the cost of not having the proper documentation in place? Oh my goodness, right? Your time, money, or sanity, right? And what's the cost for the next generation? Because you know what, right now, let me share with you one thing I talked a little bit, early on when it comes to taxation. One of the things that for me, it's a little bit peculiar when it comes to tax in our country, right? The taxes when we make money, the taxes when we buy things, the sale tax, the taxes when we invest, right? Capital gain, but they also taxes when we die, estate tax, right? Or the cost of probate. Oh my goodness, right? So here is what we need to do. Make preparation, right? Because this is one of the most thoughtful and considerate things that we can do for yourself and for your loved one, right? So when should we start? And let me share with you. The best time to start is when? Now. Don't procrastinate, because that's one of the biggest challenges I saw, throughout my financial career is a lot of people, they want They want to have a secure future. They want to leave a good legacy for the future, for the next generation. But they procrastinate because that's human nature, right? So please do not procrastinate. Now, the other thing today I want to share with you is how do we also protect, right, our health? Because protection through prevention is also very important. Having better health can cost us less in retirement. Yes, that's why, well, exercise, right? But you look at that, sometimes, right, some of the costs associated with detected early, in terms of symptom, right? X-ray, right? The medical costs, you can look at if we are healthy, right? You don't have to pay for those arthritis, right? Medicine or rheumatic doctor, right? You look at the cost. Oh my goodness, almost $12,000 a year. The medical cost for people who have obesity was 1,429 higher than those who are normal weight. So we're added more expense for us if we not keep ourselves healthy, right? And of course, right? Look at that. How much is a coronary bypass? $150,000. Oh my goodness, right? So again, stay healthy, right? But at the same time, prepare in case that if there's something happened to us. Because here, the reason why most people file bankruptcy, right, is running out of money. And you know what is the reason, number one reason of all the thing? Is that lost job? Is that medical related cost? Or is that excess use of credit? What do you think? Is anybody? Of course, it's medical, right? Medically related cost. 66.5% of all personal bankruptcies due to expenses and healthcare related costs. Yeah, stay in the hospital for 1 month. You know what? It's $100,000, sometimes even $1 million bills. Okay, so what should we do? Well, I think we need to prepare, right, to have the right protection, and also that when we retire, there's a lot of other costs related to healthcare. And you know what? Retiring may cost more than you think. Because it's not only the money that we spend on food, on travel, it's also what? Medical expenses. How much will the average healthy 65 years old couple in retirement who live to 87 for male and 89 for female need for medical expense? Anybody? You look at the three numbers we have. Make a guess. You know what he said? It's $600,000 for the couple. Oh my goodness. So if you can work hard our life, and then guess what? Accumulate a lot of money for retirement, but all of that going to medical expenses. And that is nearly double since 2018. It's only 3 years. And now it go up from 300 something to 600 because of the healthcare cost is going up. I don't know. Well, we are living in one of the country that very for somehow the medical cost is so high. Well, we live in here in America. So, but here's the key: don't let these expenses reduces your nest egg, right? And livelihood. So how do we prepare for that? It's very important. Would you agree with me? And again, we can accumulate wealth, but all of the money going here, how much left we have to our family? So again, the legacy we left behind, will we be able to do that if we don't prepare properly? So now, today I want to make sure that we need to do that in order for us to protect, so to protect your health and your wealth. It's very important. And today I want to share with you some of the program that when we get old, right, we will also have, right, one of the very for me good program at least we have in our country is we call the Medicare, right? That means the health insurance after you get to age 65 provided by the federal government. And this is only if you work and then you contribute to that and you receive some social security. But if you are dirt poor, then the government also, right, be able to also provide some of the what they call Medicaid. So that's the difference between Medicare and Medicaid. Okay, Medicaid is for individual based on low income, strict income, and access requirement. Most of the time, right, low income family qualify for pregnant women and children, right? And access usually must be exhausted before you qualify. If normally if you have more than $2,000 in the bank, they will not allow you, right, to receive that until you spend everything down, right? So, and again, you don't want to get into that position, would you? But again, right, certain state, right, there's a different qualification. So qualification and benefit vary state by state, and they have different name. Let's say if you're in California, they call it Medi-Cal. It's Medi-Cal, yeah, Medi-Cal. And in Massachusetts, right, they call it Mass Health, right? So those are the Medicaid program, right? So also, right, Medicare, which is the health insurance that we have provided from the federal, do not cover all the expenses, right? It's only cover 80% of the expenses. So if you, but again, if you only cover 80% or 20%, let's say if you have a major illness that could be a few $100,000, 20% of $300,000 is a lot of money. So what should we do? Right, we need to learn how to also have what we call a Medigap, which is a Medicare supplement to ensure to cover the out-of-pocket costs that aren't covered by Medicare. All right. In addition to that, right, Medicare, unless you are still covered by your employer health plan, that means by the time that you're 65 years old, if you're still right working and you have your own employer health care plan, right, then you must enroll in the Medicare before you can get some additional private Medicare supplement coverage. So what is the time? 65 years old, right? And why Medicare, right, is the primary health insurance for senior? Do you think it's cover all their costs? So take a look, right? Well, Part A is free. That means it covers what? Hospital visit, inpatient care, and free for most people. Well, Part B, help pay for doctor visit, outpatient care, and it's not free. The standard monthly premium right now is about $148. And if you make more money, right, depend. And if you still have extra income from your retirement or you're still working, and guess what? It will be more. And it's for people who are actually making a lot less. Maybe they give some credit, right? So again, it's also dependent on your income at that time, but it's not free, okay? Now, Part D is the insurance for prescription drug and to help you lower the cost when it comes to, drugs, right? And Part A and Part B, they call like original Medicare and provide by the federal government. Part D is obtained through a provider. So you had to buy that, right? Either from a Medicare supplements or Medicare Advantage. All right. So how do you apply for Medicare? Well, of course, know when to apply for Medicare is important. So you can avoid paying potential high premiums due to late enrollment. So you can see the initial period, right, for enrollment is 7 months. 3 months before and 3 months after your 65 birth month. Let's say, right, if I were born in May, right, so guess what? From February, March, and April is the first 3 months, right? And after that, June, July, August. So within that 7 months, you have to enroll at that time. Okay, there you go. You see that? So if you again, all the enrollment period may be available if you're not able to apply during your initial enrollment period, right? But if your enrollment late, sometimes they will imply a certain late fee, right? So those are things we need to make sure that we pay attention. So is Medicare cover everything? Unfortunately, it's not. Medicare doesn't cover everything. You may be surprised to learn which item or service are not covered and which one are not. Which one are covered? Which one are not? Well, okay. So let's go through this. Let's right. Yearly wellness visit. Yeah, this is a preventive medicine. Guess what? They will pay. Dental care? No, you're on your own. Okay. Oh my goodness. By that time, I think we need more denture. All right. Well, how about eye exam? No. Or relate to prescribing glasses. Not cough, right? Cardiovascular disease and screening? Yes, right? Hearing aids? No, right? And exam for fitting them, right? Physical therapy? Yes, right? How about long-term care? No, you're on your own. Most of the time, long-term care can call custodial care. That means you need someone to help you, right? So that you can have a more, in terms of comfortable life, right? Or how about character service? No. How about going overseas? Sorry. Okay, so you can see that a lot of time without knowing that, right? We may be in a bind if we need these things. So that's why it's very important for us to know which one is covered, which one is, so that we can be able to have more coverage that we need, right? So, and also Medicare after your enrollment, right, in the original Medicare, Part A or Part B, there are options for additional coverage, which is Part D, remember? Right, and here's the key. There's two things that you can do that. One is called Medicare Advantage, and the other one is Medicare Supplement, or they call it Medigap. The cost will vary depending on the plan, the coverage, and the service that you use. So now, Medicare Advantage is actually known as Part C. It's combined Part A, Part B, and normally it's also included Part D. But when you look at right here, right, the Medicare Advantage is actually, right, a little bit less costly compared to the Medicare Supplement, because with the Medicare Supplement, you have a better choice, right? In general, right, with the Medicare Supplement, right, the 20% that do not covered by the Medicare will be covered by Medicare Supplement. Right? So for a 100 medical expense, paying $20 is not too bad. But what about a $50,000 bills? Well, or $150,000 on a coronary bypass? So will you pay, right, what that with your credit card, with your retirement fund, or ask your children to help cover the cost? Well, if you have some children that make good money, maybe they do, but I'm not sure. They can even take care of themselves. How can they take care of us? Or we don't want to be a burden to them. Will you agree? So that's why it's very important that we need to learn how to have these extra insurance. They call Medicare Supplement or Medicare Advantage, right? So for those who are looking for more cover, planning for future need, right? There's a Medicare Supplement. It's the insurance plan that covers the out-of-pocket cost that original Medicare does not cover, like deductible, co-pay, right, co-insurance, and travel outside the U.S. Okay, so here the Medicare supplements, you can see that it's also, right, combined Part A, Part B, Part D, which is drug, right, and also all the expenses, right, that sometimes that we will need, like, the co-insurance, the travel outside the U.S. Okay, so again, Medicare supplements, you can see the basic benefits are standardized among all plans. So the benefit from plan G in one company will be the same from another. So therefore, don't look it for just a big name company, right? Because each company that who offer the program had to be followed, right? The same guideline by the government. So therefore, it's best for us to do what? Shop by the price. Cheapest one is the best, right? Because it had to be the same. So don't not worry that, hey, it's coming from a big name company, right? Policy are guaranteed renewable. Even if you have health problem, your policy cannot be canceled as long as you pay the premium, okay? That's just, you need to make sure you know that. And here's one thing that most of us need to be aware of, right? The Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage does not cover long-term care need, such as what? Nursing facility stay. Nor does it cover the situation, right? Visions or dental care, hearing aid, eyeglasses, or private duty nursing. So what you see here is some of the what they call different plan when it comes to Medicare supplement, right? And you can see that each plan will have a little bit different in terms of how they cover the whole thing, but choosing whatever plan, right, that appropriate to you, right? Okay, that's very important. And if you need to look to have this chart, we're more than ready to for you. You can take a picture, or you can ask Nari or me. Okay, this chart will clearly explain it. Right, what is the Medicare supplement plan? Right, and you can choose from. Okay, now today we'll talk a little bit more on the long-term care, because this is also one of what we consider, right, the crisis that will hit our country. Remember, every single day right now, do you know that there's more than 10,000 the baby boomer right now get to retirement, get to the 66, 67 years old? Every single day. What does it mean? We are now an aging population. And guess what? When we get old, may I ask what happened? Well, we are no longer as healthy, right? We will need more help when it comes to personal care. You agree? So let's take a look, right? Because Medicare and Medicare supplement can address medical and hospital related costs, but they do not pay for most long-term care service or personal care. You sick, they can treat you, but they don't come and take care of you. Is that clear? So because of that, here, if Mary broke her hips in a biking accident, after 3 days in the hospital, she was admitted to a skilled nursing facility for which Medicare will cover up to how long? 100 days. Okay? But guess what? From day 1 to day 20, it's free for her. But from day 21 to day 100, she had to pay an extra $185.50 a day co-insurance. It's not free. And after that, she's on her own. All right? We need to know that, because a lot of us think, oh, I have Medicare supplement is covered. Wrong. Right? By knowing this, right, we can also be able to get some kind of protection when it comes to long-term care, especially when we are getting to the state where we need it the most, right? And of course, right, what can address these costs, right, that Medicare and Medicare supplement do not? It's a long-term care insurance, which is something that you also need to look at, to have a complete, what we consider, right, long, in terms of holistic, perspective to protect your assets, right? And for that, let me go ahead and share with you what is the long-term care, right? So long-term care is what? It's a personal and Medicare needs if you become disabled due to age or adverse health condition. And a lot of time, not necessarily you have to be old. Let's say you have an accident, right? Young people play sport, arrive in fast car, they have accident. For example, but here's the key. If you cannot perform some of the following on your own, then you may need long-term care. Like what? Bathing, right? Dressing and eating, right? Because you know what? If you cannot take a bath ourselves, you have to have someone help you. If you cannot rest ourselves, we cannot eat, and there's a lot more moving around and all of that, right? But here, look at the statistic. 70% of adults who live to age 65 develop severe long-term care need. So 7 out of 10 people will need long-term care, and it will be very costly if we do not prepare. And you know what? Long-term care often associated with older people, but illness can happen at any age. So 48% of adults, which is half, 1 out of 2, from 18 years and older, receive some sort of long-term care benefit in their lifetime. So this is also a very important, right, in terms of level of protection that we need to have. 1 out of 2 of any person, or 7 out of 10 for anybody who at age 65 and above, right? So let's take a look at some of the costs associated. Oh my goodness, it's not cheap. Look, right? If you had to go through an adult daycare center, now for some young people, you probably have no clue what the adult daycare center, right? But you're probably familiar, you have young children, right? Young children, they have what? Child care center. Is that true? So we drop our kid, right, at the child care center when we go to work. But let's say if we have to take care of our parents and they cannot handle themselves, where do we drop them? Well, we drop them at the adult daycare center, okay? Now, let's take a look at the cost. $68 a day. which is almost about $18,000 a year, just for one person. What about to hire someone to come in to help? There's a homemaker, $20 an hour. That's almost about $40,000 a year. Or someone coming in and aid them for checking their health and take care of them, right? That's almost what? 42,000 a year. And even that we live in the adjusted living facility. It's cost almost about $119 a day, which is almost 43,000. And if we had to go to a nursing home, even a semi-private room, it costs $22 to $25 a day, which is almost $80,000 a year. And if you want a private room for your own convenience, $90,000+ a year right now. Where do we get the money if we don't prepare? So it will eat up our assets, or it become burden our family. Would you agree with me? And for that, we had to see that clearly, right? So that we can be able to also protect ourselves, right? And of course, why you remember if you are in workshop 3, when we talk about proper protection, right? There's another way to take advantage of some of this permanent life insurance, and you add it as a rider. So you bundle up with long-term care in that policy. So guess what? Instead of buying a long-term care coverage alone, that sometimes it's expensive, and if you don't use it, you lose it. Guess what? You can combine that as a combo with life insurance policy. So guess what? If you pass away, your family will have the death benefit, right? But if you don't pass away, but you're alive, but you need long-term care, you use the life insurance to take care of yourself, which has become a living benefit. I think that's a good thing to do. So if we use it, then we have less left to our family. But if not, we will be able to use that so that we don't need to access, right, to decrease our assets. It's a very good, we consider, combination, right? So again, policy with long-term care rider allow you to access the death benefit up to a certain percentage, right? That as long as it do not surpass the IRS daily HIPAA per diem, which is $380 per day, which is almost about $11,558 per month. So let's say if you buy, let's say maybe a $500,000, right, life insurance, guess what? At least you can use that $500,000 for the next 3 or 4 years to take care of your long-term care if you had that combination, rather than use that $500,000 from your assets. And again, there's many ways that we need to learn how to protect ourselves, but it's very important that you know the options so that you can choose the right one. So here's again, thinking about care is very important. Will you agree with me? Right? Being now aware of the type of care, I would like you to think about, what would you want for your parents, for your mother, for your father? You want to be the best for them, right? But can we afford that? Then we have to find out a way. How about for yourself, right? Do we want to deplete our assets on our retirement? So because of that, right, we don't have enough money to take care of ourselves, or become burdens of our children, which is, of course, we don't want to be, right? How about, are you financially prepared? Right? You're the only one who can answer that. Would you agree with me? Right? In addition to that, right? Do you know if what you have fit your need? A lot of time we have a lot of different programs, but are they also fit into our need is the key. That's why we have to look at what? In a holistic perspective, so that we can be able to put everything in the right context, right? Imagine the effect of these costs on your retirement, on your saving and your assets if you are not prepared. It will be a devastation for your financial future. Right? And for that, here's a summary. Right? We can preserve and transfer our estate at any size by what? By developing a strategy, right? And now, that's what makes the difference. See, today I just want to make sure that I have a chance to share with you the health and the wealth. They also have a very strong ties, strong relationship. right? It can greatly impact your financial future. While we have our health, we must take the appropriate action to develop a strategy that builds, maintains, and transfer our hard-earned legacy. It is very important that you are the one who understand that and you can control that. And for that, I want to share with you, one excerpt from our community, right? JT De Leon Ruiz, right? My youngest son and I was on our way to California for an appointment, right? When we got into a car accident. Had I not turned the wheel at the last second, we would have gone straight over to a 20-foot cliff. That sight gave me chills. But what is mind-boggling was the thought of relief that came to my mind. I knew that even if I die at the moment, my family would be okay. They won't have to think of how they will survive every day. They will continue with their life because I had the proper protection for them. They wouldn't think of the funeral headache. We have our wills in place. This was all because I was educated. I wouldn't have been able to set all these up had I not joined World System Builder. So you can see, only you can take the steps necessary for your future. And one of the greatest miracles in life is that you can change your life simply by changing the ways that you think. And for that, I would like to wrap up this. And of course, I know that we did not get a chance also to have you all of what we call, the workbooks, which is normally, right? I realize that sometimes when you went to school, go to classes, most of the time you have to do your homework. So maybe in the future, Nairi, or maybe Pastor Glenn, maybe make some copy and we can pass this to our audience so that, hey, you can also finish all your homework so that you can see the strategy, so that you understand and internalize information that we share with you, right? And for that, right, if you need help, get with us or someone that you trust, right, with the understanding. And that's the key, right? And of course, be part of the 30 million people financial educating, because that is our goal. And we want you to become part of that, right? Join our campaign and bring someone else, right? So that they can expose to this information, because we believe that we all deserve, right, to be financially educated. And from there, we can be able to choose the right option for us to become financially secure, right? For the past few workshops, right, we talk about, you can see that the first workshop that we have is building saving and wealth. It's required what? It's required a level of habit, good habit, discipline, save money. Then you can create wealth. The second one is to be able to also know how to improve your cash flow and manage debt, right? And of course, last workshop, we talk about prepare with proper protection. This workshop, we talk about the relationship of health and wealth. Next workshop, which is next Monday, we'll talk about understand the assets accumulation strategy, right? And of course, we will wrap up our workshop series with workshop 6, which is fulfilling long-term goals. And it's really my pleasure, right? My privilege to be able to be here to share with you this information, right? And again, I just want to make sure to repeat that knowledge is great, but without implementation, knowledge is not that useful. You agree with me? And for that, work with a financial professional to help you to improve your financial strategy. It's very important, right? Thank you for listening today. So let me go ahead and stop right here and stop the sharing and pass the baton back to Nairi. Maybe we can have a quick, maybe a Q&A or some comment, right? And for that, it's really my pleasure and privilege to be here to share with you this information. Thank you.
you, man. So just to recap, of course, we covered, the financial importance and impact of your health. We know they go hand in hand pretty much. If you're worrying about money, that can affect your health. Strategies to transfer and preserve your wealth, ensuring that your last wishes are prepared and carried out, and also understanding the inevitability and impact of medical expenses. I'm sure everyone can relate in some way about these concerns. And as we said, this is just really to open your eyes to what it is that needs to be done and to see if there is any gaps or areas of opportunity that we need to fulfill, that we need to fill in order to make sure that we don't worry and get sick about our finances. Okay. Next week, we will, as I said, we will continue with workshop number 5. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Are there any questions before we go?
I would like to thank him for the information that was shared tonight. And one of the things that really come to mind that if the sooner we prepare, the better we are. And I really appreciate the things I'm in the process of now with the Medicaid, the Medicare. I'm 66 now, and just the right information makes all the difference in the world. So I'd like to thank you for sharing with us tonight and what you have done thus far. It has really been beneficial. And I know that we've all gained a lot of knowledge from this. And again, I'd just like to thank you for sharing this with the Bellfort family.
You are most welcome, Pastor Glenn. And I know that the information may seem overwhelming or a little bit confusing right now. Don't worry. We're doing this campaign until 2030. So, at the end of our workshops, we will give you information if you so choose and you want to join a workshop again. We do them live every day. So you will have the opportunity to review, to join again in case you miss something or there's something you don't understand. But I won't give that now. I don't want to overwhelm you. But don't worry, it will be covered and we will give you that information. Okay. Is there anybody else who wanted to comment? Any questions? All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, for joining us. I hope that you found this very informative and it actually gives you the information that you will need to put things in place. Reach out to a financial advisor, your banker, your agent, as I said before. Speak to someone who is knowledgeable about this and get these things started. Okay? Before we go, let's close out with a word of prayer.
Now may the grace of God and his sweet communion rest, rule, and abide with us until we meet again. God bless us all. We love you. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Have a blessed day.
Amen. Have a blessed one.
Thank you.
Love you.